Welcome to the Cash Flow Guys podcast.
Howdy doody, boys and girls. You know where you are. You know what time it is. This is Tyler Sheff, and I am the host of the Cash Flow Guys podcast. And this week, I got a little message for those of you that are going to refuse to be free and might be thinking, what are you talking about, refusing to be free? Who's refusing to be free? Well, more people than you know. And maybe at the end of this episode, you may realize maybe you are refusing to be free. Maybe your own limiting beliefs are holding you back from getting where you need to be. And that's what I want to talk about this week. And kind of how this came to pass was episode 235. I talked about the Great Escape, being close to what you think and coming up with a number. Most people think it's 10 grand where they can be financially free. Well, understand that financially free, basically, it means different things to different people, but I tend to think in abundance and I tend to think positively. So I put that episode together to help you guys say, hey, it's not as tough as you think. You don't have to make $50,000 a month. You don't have to be Robert Kiyosaki to be financially free. Whatever your number is, come up with what are your expenses every month? How much does that cost? Know what's the figure that you can stop trading time for dollars. And by that I mean, you don't have to put in an 8-hour workday or a 10-hour workday or a 12-hour workday for those of you that are working longer. Know that it is possible to get financially free, at least in the first rung, and it's really not that tough. But it will be tough if you consistently set your goals outside of your reach. Now, I'm not one to say don't set goals. I think goals are fine. Goals make a lot of sense. That's all fine and dandy. I'm not trying to crush your dreams. But what I am saying is that how about you make things a little easier on yourself? Think of it this way. When you decide if you're going to be a marathon runner, do you start by running a 10K on day one, or do you start by running around the block? I can tell you that I can barely drive 10K, let alone run 10K. So I would probably maybe take a couple laps around the motorhome to find out if running is even something I want to do, which for me is not something I want to do unless I'm on fire or someone's chasing me. Otherwise, I'm going to take baby steps, and you're going to get to a certain spot where you're going to feel a little bit better. Maybe after you run around the motorhome a couple times, you won't feel like your heart's going to come out of your chest. And over time, you go farther and farther and farther. And before you know it, you're running 5Ks and 10Ks and you become a marathon runner. And that's all great, right? The question or the response that the person's hit me doesn't bother me. It makes me a little sad, though. It makes me feel that they really didn't listen to the episode, or maybe I didn't do a good enough job of explaining it. So I want to come at it from a different angle this week and hope you guys walk away realizing that every one of you listening to the sound of my voice right now can absolutely get to the point where you do not have to trade time for dollars, and you don't have to be a multi-gazillionaire to do it. Okay. If you would have told me a couple of years ago that I'd be living down the Florida Keys, I'd tell you you're crazy. Where I'm on the ocean every day. It's like a big playground down here. I never thought that was even possible. But when I was thinking that I had to make $50,000 a month on day one, it seemed so far away that I couldn't touch it. I couldn't reach it. So I stopped trying for quite a while. And then once I realized that we didn't need much money to get financially free, and then we reached that level, now I didn't have to go punch a clock. I didn't have to go sail around the ocean with the NOAA ships, working 12 hours a day. I didn't have to do that anymore. I didn't have to work 7 days a week. Then I started working 5 days a week, and then 4 days a week, and then 3 days a week. And then it came down to 1 day a week, and then no days a week. This winter, I sat on my butt up in the woods at our cabin all winter. Didn't do much of anything. And then we drove around the country for a few months. And then #coronavirus hit. So we drove back to our property and sat in the woods again for a few months. Now we're down the Florida Keys. I got to tell you, it's kind of nice. The money comes in no matter whether I work or not. It doesn't matter. Money just keeps coming in. So I want to read you the comment. He said, the flip side to, or he or she, I don't know if it was probably a guy though. The flip side to your argument is that most of us don't want to just be free. I'm thinking to myself, really? I don't make 10K a month now, but for me to be able to do all the things I want to be able to do, I need to make very close to that. I could live on half of that and pay all my bills, but I would not be happy. Well, that makes me a little sad inside when I hear somebody think that a certain dollar figure they feel is going to assure their happiness. It might make things feel a little bit easier, but understand that the more money you make, the more money you spend. So you're never going to reach a specific, at least I'm not the type of person where I'm never going to be 1,000,000% tickled pink and happy just because I hit a certain number. Because I'm a kind of guy where if I get to a certain number, I get comfortable. I want more. When I got to $5,000 a month passive, I wanted 10. Then I got to 10. I wanted 20. I got to 20. I wanted 30, 40, on and on and on, because I want new things. I want new toys. Now I'm down here in the Keys. I'm thinking about buying a little powerboat again. Maybe I don't want the Wave Runner anymore. Maybe I want to trade the Wave Runner on something different. Well, that's going to cost more money, which means I need to go earn more money. How am I going to do that? Well, I can leverage an asset. I could bring on a new asset that will pay for that liability. All kinds of different things I can do. So I have to do a little something, put a deal together, let that deal pay for my next toy. But here's the thing. If I was punching a clock, if I was working that 9 to 5, I wouldn't have that luxury because I would not have time. You see, financial freedom gives you money. That's all fine and dandy. But more importantly, it gives you time, because once you have control of the time that you invest in something, that's when you're truly free. It's not a number. 10 grand a month wouldn't even get somebody who's homeless free if they've got to work 7 days a week to earn 10 grand a month. Maybe they're working for themselves, quote unquote, but they're still a slave to the system. See, when you start investing in property, and this property puts off monthly income, doesn't matter how much it is, $100 here, $300 there, $1,000 there, 10 grand there. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. And once you hit that freedom number, things are going to get easier for you. You're going to have more time to think about, maybe thinking on a higher level, maybe time to read more books and learn more things that you can apply to make what you do every day easier. So maybe you start out working 5 days a week when you're in your real estate business and you escape the rat race. And you think, well, this is all great, but now I still own a job, right? I'm still working 5 days a week, and that's not freedom. I agree. But here's the thing. You have freedom of your time still. You choose to work 5 days a week. So then you ask yourself, what can I do, or who can I bring in my team to help me make things easier? And for me, I brought in like marketing people, and I brought in all these different aspects of the business. And I started putting some of this work off on other people so that I could focus on doing deals. The more I did, the more I would offshoot, right? So the more money I wanted to make, I would find someone else to do this stuff for me, and I would share some of the revenue that comes in with my vendors, with my team, and that makes things easier for everyone to make money. So what's interesting about this comment, though, is that the person that left the comment deleted it. So I'm thinking either a light bulb went off, maybe they commented before they finished the episode, or maybe they realized that the comment didn't make any sense to them, and now that they listen to the rest of the episode. But I started thinking, maybe you feel the same way, and I wanted to address the comment, and I kind of want to revisit the core points of that episode from a little bit of a different angle. So let's break down this comment so we don't miss anything. First of all, he says, the flip side to your comment is that most of us don't want to just be free. Well, I get that. Nobody wants to settle for a certain amount of money, but I'm going to ask you this, as compared to what? Because right now, if you're punching a clock, if you're in that W-2 prison, allowing the government to steal from you in the form of taxes on your wages, you're not even close to free. You're not even heading in the right direction towards being free. You're in prison. There's no doubt about that. Some of you may have read the book from Tom Wheelwright called Tax-Free Wealth. In that book, he says the following: the average person in a developed country, that's us, by the way, spends 25 to 35% of their life, boys and girls, working to pay taxes. 25 to 35% of their life working to pay taxes. That means more than 2 hours of every work day, every day you're punching that clock, are dedicated to feeding your government. And 3 to 4 months out of every year are spent solely so that you can pay your taxes. Isn't that lovely? 3 to 4 months out of every year are spent working solely so you can pay your taxes. He goes on to say that adds up to over 13 years in your work life and 20 years in your lifetime. 20 years. That's a prison sentence. So in theory, based on what he's saying, and I agree with him 100%, if you're still punching a clock, I don't care if you love your job or not. I don't care if you're saving the world. But if you're a W-2 employee, you're in financial prison. That's a fact. So the person, going back to what he said, the commenter said, I don't make 10K a month now, but for me to be able to do all the things I want to be able to do, I need to make very close to that. Well, again, understand that your freedom number, let's say you need to make $4,000 a month to escape the rat race. That doesn't mean you need to quit earning. That doesn't mean that's all Uncle Tyler's allowing you to make. I mean, I don't believe in socialism, so obviously that's not the case. You can make as much money as you want to make. And in fact, when you reach that 4,000 and you tell the boss, bye-bye, do you know how easy it is to double that at that point? Going from 4,000 to 8,000 is a walk in the park, because once you master the skills to get you to the 4,000, the base level you need, you now have the skills that you've learned to get you that far, right? You've earned that $4,000 a month coming in. So you quit the job. So now you already know what to do. And the next thing that people have a problem with is they don't have the time to do it. Well, here's the good news. You don't have the job anymore. So you can quit the job and just duplicate what you've already done. Now, that's not hard, guys. You've already done the hard work to get you to the $4,000. And this is my point. Focus on that lower number. Focus on what's the minimum you need to generate from your real estate business to get out of the job. Because the minute you get out of the job, your tax implications are going to change as long as you're not flipping houses or wholesaling. That means you're going to reduce your tax liability, your tax bill. Some of you are saying, I don't get a tax bill, I get a refund. Oh, you're getting a bill. They just help themselves to it out of your paycheck before you ever see it. That's the difference. If you believe the government's here to help you, I've got news for you. The government's not here to help you. Understand that this means that you're going to drastically reduce your tax obligation. I want to say it again. You're going to drastically reduce your tax obligation. You want proof of this? Go look at your W-2. Pull your W-2 out that you submitted at tax time and look at how much total tax they sucked out of your paycheck. Imagine if Uncle Tyler wrote you a check right now for that same amount of money, that you got a refund on 100% of the taxes you paid. Not what you overpaid. Understand, a refund is technically what you overpaid, that which is due back to you because you paid more than you had to. But don't forget the fact that the government helped themselves to more than their fair share, which is why you got a refund, guys. And it's up to them, their tax code, your accountant or TurboTax, to decide, I say TurboTax tongue-in-cheek, H&R Block, to demystify and try to figure out how much you overpaid. And you better darn sure hope they're right, because if they're wrong, number one, you could get in trouble. Number two, they could still keep stealing from you. So how do we solve all that drama? Well, we stop paying them so much. We stop funding them. Everybody was talking about unfund this and defund that and shut that down. Well, how about that? Stop giving these idiots in Washington all this extra money they can go piss away. How about keeping that money in your pocket? Because here's the thing. If you have a CPA with a brain, preferably one that invests in real estate, so that you can take advantage of the benefits, the tax advantages to investing in real estate, not by flipping houses, kids. This is by buying and controlling assets, okay? Earning your money differently so that it's tax favored or tax advantage. That's how you're going to get financially free. Because if you're making $5,000 a month right now and you can't make ends meet working a job, I guarantee you will feel rich making $5,000 an hour or $5,000 a month as a self-employed person that invests in real estate for growth. If you do that, your tax liability, because you're going to keep more money, guys. If you're a real estate investor and you're actually investing in real estate, and I don't mean wholesaling houses or flipping houses, I mean actually acquiring or controlling a rental property, and you seek all of the tax advantages that are legally authorized to you, you'll be able to keep the majority of that $5,000 that you earn. But right now, probably 30% to 35% of what every dollar you make goes back to the government in taxes. I promise you that if you were doing your taxes legally, legitimately, that 25 to 35% will drastically melt away, because there's all kinds of tax code advantages written into the law to reward people for investing in real estate. If you take advantage of those, it'll be huge. Again, I implore you to go look at your W-2, go look at your tax return. I know all you looked at was how much of a refund you got this year, but look at your actual tax return and look at the line. And I don't remember what line it is in front of me. I don't have it in front of me right now, but look at what line tells you how much you have to pay or you had to pay for the whole year in taxes, how much they've already stolen from you. Look at that number. That means getting to your number, if it's $4,000 a month, means that number is a number that can be written right back to you. You can get most of that money back starting next year if you just get going. I don't know what a deal is, Tyler. Howtomakedeals.com. Howtomakedeals.com. It's free. You don't even have to type anything in. You just whack the button. You can sign in with Facebook. It's 4 videos in a deal analyzer form. It's absolutely free, and it's going to teach you how to realize a deal, how to recognize a deal, how to pull the trigger and capitalize on a deal. Last thing the commenter said was, I could live on half of that and pay my bills, but I would not be happy. You know, the reality here is that achieving a certain monthly figure is never going to maintain permanent happiness. As you grow emotionally, you're going to want different experiences, which require more money. But here's the good thing. There's nothing wrong with that. And the good news is, now that you're free, you've got the time you need to enjoy the experiences, because you also have the time to increase your earnings. As I said earlier in this episode, a good example of that is, I'm living here down in the Keys. It costs a hell of a lot more money to live here than it does anywhere else in the country. I'm thinking including California. So how do I change that? If the dynamics change, well, I've got all the time in the world. The only thing I have to do is meet with my inner circle students once a week, answer some questions via email, and I don't have to really do anything else. Everything else is taken care of. So I've got all the rest of the week to make that extra little money. So I'll go out and do another deal. Not a big deal. We'll bring another cash flow property into the fold, and we'll make that happen right away, so it will cover the new cost of living down here. Guys, every one of you can do this. This is not rocket science, but you got to have a baseline to start. Don't set your goals at $10,000 a month. Set your goals lower and accomplish them.
This concludes today's episode. You don't have to wait till the next episode to learn to earn.
Head over to cashflowguys.com and contact Tyler and his team for more powerful tips and ideas, so you can start generating multiple streams of income and escape the rat race.